Welcome to the Public Speaking Experts Podcast with Elliot Kay and Jose Ucar. Every week we bring the tips, tools, and strategies for you to become a world-class public speaker. We bring you guests, experts, and authorities in the field of public speaking to enrich you and enhance your public speaking journey. Remember to subscribe, rate, and comment. And now, please welcome your hosts, Elliot and Jose.
It is a Monday and we are recording another episode, and this one is truly epic. I mean, this episode is so epic that I've said it at least 4 times already in the first 10 seconds. That's how epicable it is. And I wonder how many things I can say with epic in them. What isn't epic is, unfortunately, I have a co-host called Jose. And you know, the good thing about today is that the good news is we don't have to listen to Jose talk a lot because we got an incredible guest. Now, I'm gonna take
a call. I'll see you later.
Right, that's fantastic. So now we can have a really serious episode. I am super excited because I know that the guest we have today he's actually on a call. He's an incredible artist. He's a creative. He's a personality. He's a figure. And I'm not talking about Jose, actually. I'm talking about a guest who we'll introduce shortly. But Jose, we finally, after months, if not years, knocking down doors, smashing down walls, we finally got our guest. How are you today, Jose, by the way?
Oh, after everything you've given me, I'm actually much better. I missed this. I missed all of this. I missed it so much that I don't think I will turn up next Monday. But there we go, people.
I love you.
Are you sure?
That's what I wanted to hear. Now, you're playing it right, Ellie. You're playing it right. You're playing the right instrument. Yes, te amo. I like that.
Yeah.
Elliot K.
Have you had a good day so far?
It's been a good day. Yes, the weather is nice and it's been epic as well. So going back to the epic sounds that we have in our lives. And I'm very excited about today's guest because he was playing hard to get. Remember the messages we used to get in the past? Yeah, guys, I'm so busy for you, yeah. And yeah, Jose, I love you. All of that lip service, you're amazing. But no, I cannot be with you guys. And it was just, I at some point I thought it wouldn't happen. But yes, it did happen. So are we going to introduce this incredible person today?
I really think you should.
A
part of me wanted to start the episode with my chair turned round and then to turn it round. But I thought logistically,
we can still do it.
Well, we can. You don't have a chair. B, I just thought my headphones will get all tangled and it'll just look clunky. But I'm going to leave you to introduce our man of the hour. So, for those of you listening on the podcast, just so you understand what's happening, is Jose's just turned his back. But there's a significance to that. Jose, maybe you want to intro and explain why we wanted to turn around with our chairs.
Yes. And well, a little bit of background. We met on Clubhouse, and the first time I heard this gentleman, I thought, wow, what a lot of BS. No, I'm only joking. That wasn't the first reaction. My first reaction was, wow, I mean, what a deep soul. He's got an amazing voice, by the way, but the first reaction, the impression was, wow, I mean, powerful words coming from a powerful place. So I love that. And even though it was only audio, I really wanted to then go and connect with him. We started talking, and then we invited him to the Clubhouse that we run together, or that we were running. Now I'm not running it there, but hey, that's a different story for another day.
We won't go there right now. We won't go.
Exactly. Let's not go there. Let's not go there because we are on a high right now. Elliot, come on! I'll sing you a song in a moment, and we'll sing together.
I don't want you to sing me anything,
people. But it's okay. Let me introduce our guest today.
Okay.
Are we gonna get to that point at some point?
Okay.
Get to the point at some point. So I've said point like 3 times. So people, then we go into conversations, and then Manny Cabo, who's apart from an incredible human being, family man, he's very good looking as well. He's got an incredible voice, an artist, a singer, a performer, a speaker. He's everything. he also was one of the finalists at The Voice, La Voz or La Voz, depending on where you're coming from with regards to your Spanish. And Elliot is giving me like a 4.
As in, he had a 4-chair
What does that?
turnaround. 4, not
Okay,
1.
yeah. So
Most
he
people
got
want 1. He had 4. That's how incredible an achievement that is. Not
4
one person
times. So
turn
I
around
just
4
done it.
times. Yes. Okay.
Well, but I
so
haven't got
that's why it's hard.
I haven't got 4 people, so you got the gist of it. So welcome, Manny Cabo, to the show, hermano. What a pleasure to have you here all the way. Where are you today? Come on.
Yeah,
Manny,
you guys are.
legend.
I don't even
Welcome
know why.
to the Public Speaking Expert podcast.
I appreciate it, man. It's an
That
honor
was
to
a
be here.
very
I don't
quick
even know
intro.
why you guys need me. You guys have enough comedy shtick to go on for months right now. I'm just an innocent bystander watching you guys perform. This is great. I love being entertained, man.
Manny, that you do raise a good point, but that means after we record these in a row, and I'll have to listen to him
Right.
for at least 3 more recordings, and that would just be like pow, like drive me
Oh,
insane. So the only real
I
reason
see.
we
So
have
there's a
guests is
caveat.
not
There's
because we're
definitely a
interested
caveat
in
there.
them. Say again, Manny.
No, I
Say
said
that
that's a
again.
caveat. I get it. I understand.
Exactly. It's just to
Yeah,
kind of give my ears a break, really. That's the only reason. No, of
sure.
course not. Listen, we are dying to dive into that incredible brain of yours and to get, when you used to come into Clubhouse, the words, the wisdom, the strength, the passion you have just blew us all away. And we're like, we've got to get this guy on the podcast. And that's why you're on the podcast. And not only because of your achievement, because who you are as a human being. So
Well, that means a lot.
that's really why you're here. So, Jose, do you want to kick it off with your first question?
Brother, I don't want to ask you a question. I want you to sing to me a little bit.
But please,
Well,
no
not
British accent. No British
yeah,
accent.
no, not in British accent. Or shall we sing to Elliot Si Nos Dejan? Quickly,
What does that
just the
mean?
first beat or something. Well, that's a very nice song. Is that the one you sang, Manny, or was it another one from Luis Miguel?
Oh no, Historia de un amor, the history of love.
Historia de
The
un
history of a
amor.
love, I should say. Yeah, but then
Oh,
I also
wow.
did Mi Viejo San Juan too. So I'd
Oh,
be
Mi
more
You know,
than
Viejo
if he
happy to
San Juan is
sing you
sings, we might have
something.
to pay him like royalties. And have you checked the legalities of asking him to sing? This could be a
There we
dangerous
go. I
territory.
haven't. I just wanted to sing to you with Manny today, Elliot. So the song is not for me, really. Sing to the audience.
I could
Maybe we do
actually.
that at the end. Should we do that at the end?
Hold on a second, Elliot. You asked
Okay.
me to ask a question, and we always go with questions. And I thought, why don't we change things around a little bit? And then, if that's okay. If you don't want to sing, then don't sing
No,
because you're gonna be
listen,
singing. You're gonna be singing with me, so you're ready for that.
Oh, no.
singing with you, huh? Hey, listen, I'm up for the challenge. You can never turn down. This is what we do. This is what we do. So I'm always
All
good.
right. Over to you guys. This is a first, the singing duet on the Public Speaking Expert podcast. Let me introduce Jose Ocar and Manny Cabo.
So, Manny, are we gonna go Historia de un amor? If you start, I follow you. I'm sure your voice is going to get rid of mine in the background, but hey, I'll bring the passion. I'll bring the heart as well.
All right, I'll start it off. You ready?
I'm ready, buddy. Thank
Here we
you.
go. Ya no estás más a mi lado, corazón.
En el alma solo tengo soledad.
Y si ya no puedo verte, porque Dios me hizo quererte para hacerme sufrir más.
Siempre fuiste la razón de mi existir. No, I lost it in there. Adorarte para mí fue religión. There we go, Manny. Thank you so much, brother. Woo!
Oh my God.
That was good, man. That was good. That was good. And
Yeah,
you know what? That's
impressed.
early. We most singers, we don't like to sing before 10 o'clock in the morning. But for you guys, not a problem, man. I'm up.
Oh
I'm always
my
up for the challenge.
Gosh. I'm impressed,
Well,
Jose.
There we go, Elliot. There we go.
I
Over
can't
to you, my
sing
friend,
for
to start with a
toffee.
question.
Nice job,
Wow.
Jose. Nice
I'm not
job,
sure where
man.
we go from here, but well done. That's a first. Obviously incredible. And you, Jose, I've got to say, I'm very impressed. So, Manny, tell us a little bit. Obviously, it's a public speaking expert podcast, and what we really want to do is empower speakers globally to really go out there, not only be great speakers, but to
speak your greatness.
Exactly. And so for someone that I feel obviously has got themselves out there, put themselves out there, is putting themselves out there, someone who's kind of on the front of always being creative, why don't we start with some of the challenges you might face being in that space? Because you've got to stay current, you've got to stay at the front, otherwise you're redundant, right? You've got to stay in people's eyes and ears, otherwise you're forgetful. I'm not saying you are, but you know what I'm saying? Like the reality of the industry you're in. So if we took that to people on this path, if we draw the parallel between speaking and music, for example, what are some of the challenges you've faced and how have you overcome them on this journey?
That's definitely a loaded question, but certainly an amazing one. So thank you for that. See, I can only speak for myself because
Yeah.
there's a lot of components and layers to me. I'm a singer, I'm a photographer, and also a podcaster. So juggling three separate careers as an artist, it's bad enough juggling one, because you know how it
Yeah.
rolls. You
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to be somewhat omnipresent, right? But don't get fooled by the culture of busy. Being busy in this isn't necessarily a good thing. You have to be very strategic. So for me, what I figured out was, and this is for every speaker or every artist or somebody who's kind of trying to establish a brand, you have to be very clear on what your message is. Whatever that truth is, you have to be very, very clear about it, because we all know rule number one is a confused mind will never buy. Same thing applies as an artist. You have to embrace a specific genre. Now, that doesn't mean you can't sing other genres, but you have to have your own ethos, your own ecosystem, a fan base, people that follow and support you, because these are the essentially individuals that will sustain your career. So, with that being said, my message, and this is the one thing that was a huge issue for me, how does Manny Cabo combine all of these three talents into one? Right. So I said, wait a second. So I'm an artist, right? I'm a musician, first and foremost. That's my true passion. And when I talk about music, I don't speak from the brain, I speak from the heart. That's when you know you're in it. So after being counseled by so many great influencers and branding specialists, I came to the conclusion that, okay, well, I'm a musician. So what I do now with my photography, I help artists brand their vision, right? With my podcast, I help empower, educate, and entertain musicians. And with my music, well, that's a pretty self-obvious run. I entertain and I please their audible sense, but also their visual sense with my live performances and with my music. So my message is clear. I'm an artist for the artist, especially in my space. And that was hard to come by. And that's where a lot of artists have this constant battle, because I don't know what I like. I know I like to do this, but I will say this as well. This is huge. There is a huge caveat here. We as musicians, or whatever it is, whatever, an artist, a painter, a sculptor, it doesn't matter. You have to do the work. You have to put in the reps. So many artists out there, they want the success, they want the accolades, they want that clout. But there's a lot of late nights and early mornings, right? A lot of self-indulgent with respect to understanding your knowledge, cultivating your craft. When I hire someone, or rather, when somebody pays me and I get hired to do a job, I'm not charging them for the job. I'm not charging them for the performance. I'm charging them for the 20, 25 plus years of those endless and grueling hours of cursing my ass off, because this is difficult. If you're in this industry for success, I'm going to tell you right now, you can quote me, do something else, because in this industry, you have to work. You have to figure out a way of being omnipresent strategically. That doesn't mean get on every major platform. Like, I have no business being on LinkedIn. I have no business being on certain other applications. My jam is TikTok and Instagram, right? It's more visual, more audio oriented. It makes perfect sense. The problem is many people spend time where their audience is not located. And that could be anything. It could be a Facebook group. You could really double or triple down on one specific platform and do that. You're better off doing that than spreading yourself thin. So, I mean, like I said, this is a loaded question, and there's certainly
Yeah,
tons of components that we could address. But I think that's the key. I think you have to have a very clear
absolutely.
message as to who you are. Oh, and one last thing: the biggest thing that you can give your audience isn't love, isn't appreciation. Those are integral parts, yes, but it's authenticity. You have to be authentic with your audience. Your audience will smell BS a mile away. And it's so difficult being somebody that you're not for 24 hours a day. It's exhausting and it'll catch up to you. So I hope that serves you.
It's incredible. I mean, there is, and I purposely wanted to start with a loaded question because what I wanted to see is how we unpack that. So, if I unpack it, obviously, you having a core message, knowing your why, I think is essential, as you're saying, and authenticity. It's exhausting
Yeah.
being someone you're not. I love that. Jose, are you taking note? It's exhausting being something you're not. Just saying. Hashtag. Just saying.
Yes,
Over to
yes.
you.
The power of projection, I would say on that one. Thank you very much, Elliot. Manny, buddy, I think out of everything, I need to go back to authenticity
Mm,
as human beings. Because then once we become authentic and comfortable in our own shoes,
yeah.
it's not to say, yeah, we're going to, I mean, maybe struggle in the sense that not everyone is going to like us. But then the people who like us, they won't just like us, they'll love us as well. And we will love them
Yeah.
back. So going back to that niching down in a way, I really like that explanation. And it got me thinking as well. The times I haven't delivered the best version of myself, it hasn't been down to the content. It's been down to me thinking or trying to be
Mm,
something else or portrayed something different. So powerful for people listening to this, people watching, catching up with a replay. Think about authenticity. And I wanted to ask you, Manny, then around that topic,
yeah.
how do you know you're being authentic? And if you're still kind of finding yourself, because you know what it's like, and I like to believe that I'm refining myself on a
Yeah.
daily basis.
Yeah.
But when you're starting out in a new career, a new path, how do you find yourself? Because it's easy to say, yeah, be authentic, and it's become a bit of a cliche. Yeah, be authentic, you need to be
Yeah.
authentic.
Yeah.
How is it you being authentic? How do you find that authenticity, and how do you stick to it? Over to you, bro.
It's really simple. One of the things, I sleep great at night. I have no ambivalence whatsoever. I don't have to remember what I said to somebody else because guess what? I just told the truth. It's so much easier when you tell the truth because you don't have to go back in your archives and be like, oh man, what the hell did I tell Jose? What did I tell Elliot? That's part number one. Secondly, everyone is so consumed culture. And unfortunately, it's a supremacy culture, right? And my advice to everyone out there is stop attaching your emotions to arbitrary outcomes. You have to attach your emotions and your passions to the things that you enjoy doing, right? And be so busy focusing on improving yourself that nothing else matters. See, when I was on The Voice and La Voz, I got more hate comments than I did praise comments. And the first thing that they tell you on these shows is don't read the
The
comments.
comments.
They try to engrave that. Don't read the comments because we musicians, most of us anyway, are very emotional creatures. And I think the whole planet at some point or another, right, become emotional with comments that don't really align or resonate with them. But here's the thing I'm going to tell you. That's the best thing that you want. Could you imagine how boring this planet would be if we all liked the same things, if we all accepted the same things? You can't. You have to accept these diverse responses of you. And I got to tell you a funny story real quick, and I'll move on and I'll land my plane with this. I remember I said, you know what? I will respond, but I'm very secure. I don't really care what people think about me. I never did. So I went in and I responded to all these people that had these hateful comments like, oh, he's a has-been. He's a never was. What's this 45-year-old guy doing competing with 18-year-olds? And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is going to be good, right? So I literally my rebuttal was, hey, let's for sake of argument, hey, Mark, hey, man, I'm sorry you felt that way, dude. I did the best I really could. Was there something that you saw that could help my career? Because I appreciate good and bad inputs. And most of the time, you know what they said? Oh, dude, I didn't even think you'd respond to me, bro. I thought it was great. But, I just wanted to, join the crew. And I thought that was so fascinating. You see how influenced people are? Some people are just crying for attention. And you know what? They became my fans. And they're like, dude, just the fact that you reached out to me, I feel like a total ass for even saying that, bro. But thanks for getting back to me. So if we're confident with each other, if we face these fears that we have, guess what happens? We disarm the intensity of them. Again, it's in the reps. People that are terrified to be in front of the camera. Guess what? The more you're in front of the camera, the more you get acclimated to being in that space. You have to do the work. And that comes with being insecure or secure. Everything is all relative. And you notice how I keep highlighting this. Do the work, because anything you want to improve on, anything that you want to gain, whether it's an accolade, whether it's financial rewards, you do the work. And chances are you're going to greatly increase the percentages of attaining that end result. That's my superpower. I work hard, but I work smart. So there's a difference.
Elliot,
Fabulous.
buddy, please just give a round of applause. Give a round of applause to Manny, one of those super sounds that we have. That was fantastic.
We need to get a mic drop.
Yeah.
We need to get a sound effect, a mic drop.
Quickly, there was something. I mean, I love the whole answer. There is one thing. I mean, the fact that you went back to these people, which speaks highly of you, but I also strongly believe that the quality of our questions are going to dictate the quality of our lives and our relationships. So it's not just getting back to them, but actually asking questions in a way that could even help you get better. So, feedback, the breakfast of champions that Elliot likes to say so often, that's very powerful. Elliot, over to you, buddy. I'm loving this. Manny, gracias, amigo. Thank you for being here with us today.
Oh, man. No, the pleasure's all mine. I love this.
Peter, where are you? I'm on Riverside, mate. That's my Cockney
Jose's
accent.
attempt to have a British accent. We're going to dive into your British accent in a minute, and soon we'll have a little commercial break just to talk about, our normal sponsorship and things like that. It's interesting. You talked about the cancel culture, and there's so many parallels. This is why I knew you'd be an amazing guest between being an artist and a performer and being a speaker. So everything you're talking, you could just replace artist, performer with speaker. Literally, just cut it out and drop that in, which is why I knew this would be an incredible interview. What I've noticed, and I'd be interested to see what you think about this, there's the rise in the cancel culture, but there's also, to me, a rise in the entitlement culture. I don't know if you spotted that. So a couple of years ago, I don't know if you know this about me, but many moons ago, I used to be a professional dancer. I started really late. I started when I was 21. I trained, and then I had a bit of a career as a dancer, and then got injured. Typical story, found a different path. And then a couple of years ago, I really wanted to come together and do a fusion between Irish dancing and break dancing, right? And do a whole dance company. And I kind of put an advert out there, and I started to recruit all these street dancers and break dancers and Irish dancers. Now, in my day, when I graduated as a dancer, you lapped up every opportunity you could. You worked your way up and you got the contracts and you kind of built yourself up till you got known. Unfortunately, by the time I got the phone call telling me I've got the job without auditioning, I was already very injured by then. And I lost that part of my career. And obviously, as an artist, as a dancer, as a speaker, we all aspire to that phone call. Look, you don't need to audition. Show up here. This is the pay. When I put that company together, I noticed that the approach, for right or for wrong, was, what you're paying. And I'm like, this is a project. I want to get us on the X Factor. Britain's Got Talent. I want to build it up and go that way. But I found it a lot harder than when I was around to entice people into a vision versus getting paid. And I wonder if that's something you've noticed as well in the space you're in. And there's nothing wrong with getting paid, but I've noticed generally there's much more of a you need to pay entitlement culture going on these days. Do you think that's true or not?
No, I definitely think that self-entitlement. I don't mind. Obviously, I think every artist should get paid.
Yeah.
Every single artist should get paid. I mean, that goes without saying. What I don't agree with is overcharging or charging what you're not worth. Okay. And there's an element of integrity that goes behind that. Now, I believe you when you put in the hours. Okay. I charge. And for some people, it's not affordable, like for photography or my concerts. And you should never have to negotiate your worth, because what happens is now you're questioning your integrity and people will question the integrity. So the point I'm trying to make is with people that are overcharging, that haven't done anything in their life, I definitely take umbrage to that, because the question, what have you done? Okay, means a lot to me because I put in the work. So this new generation, and I hate to say that, and I don't really care because I see it every single day. Well, they want to reap the rewards. Well, why am I not getting this many streams? Or why am I not getting this performance? Or Manny, share your contacts with me. No, I'm not going to share your contacts. My contacts are a direct extension of these robust relationships that took me years to build. You can't just hand something over to somebody because you're actually doing a disservice to someone, because then they're going to be in for an even larger rude awakening when it comes. I don't want that. Instead, what I do is I offer a different perspective. I try to educate them, because guess what? Those that want to learn, those that want to succeed, will heed to my admonition. Don't are very insecure. I don't want to deal with that anyway. You see my point? So educating people to understand the value of what it takes between the interim of attaining a success and building that relationship is huge. And I don't think we're doing a great job. And believe it or not, it starts at home. Parents need to do a better job with their kids. They need to instill these values. And well, I'm working all day. I'm working 24 hours. Yeah. So don't have kids. I'm sorry. Right? You need to be more responsible in rearing your children to let them understand what to expect, what value is, what appreciating value, what working hard to achieve something means. There's a huge value in that. And I think everyone needs to understand that. But so many people want to sidestep that part. They want to go over and leap right over it. I don't want that. I don't want anybody to fall on their face. That's why I started my podcast. When I lost my dad to COVID, he said, "You want to do something great? Do something that will influence, educate, and empower the world. Contribute and make this world a better place than when you got it." And that's why I do the things that I do. And I see that all the time. And by the way, Elliot, I wrote a book. It's being released. I guarantee it'll be a bestseller. And you could write that down today, March 21st, that I said that. You're going to appreciate it. That's all I'm going to say. There's a little hint. You're going to appreciate it. You're going to read it over and over.
Does it have a giraffe in it?
I'm not. I love that, Gary Henderson. If you're listening, so yeah, I'm getting the word out there. But trust me, you're going to totally appreciate it. That's all I'm going to say. That's the only little hint that I'm dropping in there, and it's a generalized. It could be spread out and sprinkled in every facet, every sector of the world. Because you know how I roll. I like to see everybody succeed. There's nothing that I like more than a good success story. But yeah, I think I think it is. It's a reverberating toxic narrative that you see all the time. The tantrums. Every kid nowadays needs medication. I mean, it's absurd to me. But listen, I'm not knocking physical therapy, or I'm not knocking psychiatric help. Certainly not knocking medicinal refuge. But dude, it's overwhelming the amount of cases that don't need it. When I was young, guess what? They gave me a bicycle. Go outside and get rid of some of that energy. Go run the lap. Go play basketball. Right? It's just different times, and I respect that. But there's certain things that we need to revert back in time with, right? It's a great question. I don't have the answers to that. The only thing I could do, I could impress my knowledge and my own experiences to help society. And that's the way I'm going to answer that one.
Yeah, you reminded me something before I hand it to Jose and we go for a little bit of a break. In Will Smith's book, he talks about when his Gigi found his rap book. He had a little book where he wrote his rhymes. And then she didn't say anything. Do you know this? And she just left him a little message saying, "Dear Will," something along the lines. I'm paraphrasing. "Dear Will, we'd like to think of someone as intelligent as we think you are, can use the words to uplift people and doesn't need to curse." Right. And then after that, he talks about how, he understood that with all his talent, he can really use it to uplift and use the language and the words to so people are better off hearing him.
Sure.
And then after that, he never cursed again in any of his any of his rhymes, but it's due to Gigi. And you kind of remind me a little bit of that story. Jose, before we cut away for a little commercial break, you're doing your little nod and your little wobble.
Well, there is plenty of nodding going on here because incredible insights, and it's a pleasure to hear you, Manny, as well. And Elliot, every now and then he does drop a bit of knowledge, not as much as I would like him to, but there we go.
And I got to tell you, as a testament to what you guys have done, that's one of the reasons why I was so excited to be on the show. I love comedy. I do. I love comedy, and I'm a big. By the way, Ellie, I'm a huge fan of English drama, crime series. Ricky Gervais. I love that dry humor. So the relationship that you guys have, which spawns this great and engaging type of vibe, man. So I appreciate you guys just as much. So thanks for having me on. I just wanted to.
It's our pleasure, honestly. And It's so nice to hear, and also we almost have to sometimes warn our guests because I don't think they're always ready for our banter. So sometimes we've had guests that've gone like, you could just see at the beginning, like, what have I let myself into here? But that's who we are.
Yeah.
We're authentically, that's who we are. And we're never going to take
And
that away. That's
I
what makes
almost
us
didn't do
special.
the show. I almost couldn't do the show because I don't know if you know, I've been off the grid for 5 months. Everyone's like, Manny, is you all right? People are sending me letters if I'm okay. Hurricane Ida wiped away 25 years of my livelihood, everything.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Over
you were saying.
$80,000 of equipment, podcast, music, photography equipment, all washed away. But
Oh,
that's
my
another
God.
story. We could get into that afterwards. It's something that it needed to happen. Hindsight, everything is 2020, and sometimes things don't make sense when they do transpire. But months down the road, that contrast in your life is certainly needed. Everyone needs to go through contrast to understand the clarity of when they see it, to totally see the things that they desire. And sometimes the universe gives you a little 2x4, little cosmic 2x4 to make the change, to make that transition or the pivot, if you will, when we're too afraid to do it ourselves. So I'll leave it at that.
I love that. Let's do this.
Thank you very much for listening to the Public Speaking Experts podcast. Remember to listen, subscribe, share. We do this every Monday, and we want you to become great speakers. Elliot, the sound is so loud that I cannot even hear my voice, but there we go. I'll carry on. And today's who is sponsoring today's episode? For a moment, it's just like, ah! Oh, all right. So there we go, Manny. Live to inspire, Manny Cabo. Brother, you're sponsoring the event. I'm sorry, it's lack of preparation from my end. What would you like to shout out about? You mentioned the book. Is there anything else? You could do the podcast. Talk to us, brother, while we carry on playing the song.
Absolutely. Well, anything and everything that has to do with Manny Cabo, just go to mannycabo.com. A brand new book coming out within another month or so. It'll be everywhere. I'll be doing some book signings, the whole nine. I'm really excited about that. New music. Obviously, new music's a big deal. It's always been a part of my life. For the next up and coming months, I've been working on that. The podcast is in the top 1% best music interview podcast in the world. So please rate, review, subscribe. Help me help my ecosystem of amazing artists. We've got so many top tier artists, Grammy award-winning producers, best-selling authors, you name it, contributing their time. And I put my heart and soul just to keep, my ethos inspired. And finally, I joined Gary Henderson and his incredible brain over at the Giraffe Tower. It's essentially a community for creatives. If you're a creative, this is exactly the space. So, I recommend you guys go visit, giraffetowernft.com, find out more about it, and ask me any questions that you want, Discord server, the whole nine. So, yeah, great things happening right now. It's a lot of work, I will tell you that, but I'm really excited. It's fun, and it's a relief to finally be able to find a community you can triple down all of your efforts on, especially after this brutal year that I've had.
Yeah. So thanks for that. Listen, people, check out Manny Cabo. He's sponsoring, he's here, sharing his wisdom, his knowledge, his insight. So make sure that A, you take note, but B, make sure you send some love, like, subscribe, listen to the podcast, buy his book, check it all out, because we want him to carry on his incredible work. So let's quickly dive into the last year, if you're happy to go there. Sure. I'll start off with a reframe that someone gave me recently, and I wonder, you've clearly done a reframe. So down the road from where I live, there's a singular lane that you can go up or down. And I drop my kids off to school. And obviously, if a car comes from the other direction, one of you has to go all the way back. And the general rule, if you're 3/4 of the way up, the person who meets you has to back. The person closer to the top has to back. So I was 3/4 of the way up, and this big van was coming down. And I was dropping my kids off to school. And so I'm like, I signal, could you go back? And he's like, you go back. I was like, could you go back? He's like, you go back. So anyway, I get out the car, it's raining, and I approach the guy. I'm like, listen, I don't want an argument. I really don't. All I want to do is get my kids to school. The general rule is, if you're closer to the top, you reverse back. He's like, it's just as close for you. I'm like, actually, if you look, it's not. And I'm not here to argue. right? So are you going to move back? And he starts winding up the window and he goes, no. And I said, listen, I'm going to sit here till you move, right? I know exactly what I was doing. He's like, you'll be late. I'm like, I can handle my kids being late for school. Can you handle being late for work? And I got in my car and I sat there calmly and I waited and I waited. And then behold, behind me turned 2, 3 more cars that he's now blocking. So what did he need to do? He needed to reverse back. When I was talking about this, so then again, when I drove past him, I wasn't rude. I was like, thank you very much. I just like, I wasn't like, F you, and I wasn't any of that, right?
Sure.
And then I was speaking to this with my coach and I was telling about the story. It's like, where am I? What's going on? Because I've had a couple of like these kind of run-ins. And she said, actually, what happened there was you're 3/4 of the way up and the universe was telling you that sometimes you need to say what you need to say, do what you need to do, and just wait for backup. The universe has got your backup. I was like, oh my gosh, that is such an incredible reframe. And then since then, I've been reminding myself that, when things are quiet, when things aren't happening, just wait for backup. The universe has got your
Right.
back. So Manny, although it's not 25 years of my life wiped out, right? Nowhere near what you've experienced. Tell us kind of, obviously what's the hurricane wiped took everything away, right?
Yeah.
So tell us how you've reframed that to become something that's moving you forwards.
Sure. Absolutely. Great question. And that's one of the questions actually that I juggle and entertain every single day because I mean, if you think about it, you want to talk about vulnerability. That is one episode of my life, a chapter that, as much as I would like to just rip out of the book and throw it out, quite the contrary. It's one of those chapters that I reread and reread. Brings back that sense of humility because when I'm sitting in this studio that was once filled with 12 feet of water, it's bad. Okay. I'm an artist. I'm in the entertainment space and I love my media attention, but when TV Al Jazeera and the Associated Press are in your house interviewing you for damages, that can't be good, right? And I joke about it. Of course, it could have been so much worse because 4 people perished literally 200 feet away. I literally had FEMA canoes up and down my street, right? Everything was floating. 3 cars were totaled. It was pretty devastating. But as I sat there that night, honestly thinking that I had to get helicoptered out, told my wife, sit down, everything's going to be all right. She's like, babe, this doesn't look good. And, I have to be the rock of Gibraltar. Remember, I just lost my dad. I lost another authority figure in my household. So they see me break down. That's just a little snowball effect. So I said, everybody, take it easy. We're going to be all right. We have a second floor. Worst case scenario, we have third. We'll be all right. So reassuring them is okay. But I didn't focus on the void. After the fact, I didn't focus on what I didn't have. I didn't focus on everything that I lost. Of course, it hurt. It was right here in the back of my mind. But what I did was I implemented the power of gratification. Now, at this junction, you're probably like, what the hell could you possibly be grateful for? The fact that I'm still here. I'm alive. With life comes possibilities. My family was still here. My house was still here, at least part of it. But we could always rebuild. So the point I'm trying to make it, if you focus on the void, you continuously focus on the lack, right? That energy that you're exuding, you're going to get more of that. And it didn't take a hurricane for me to realize that. What it did was it gave me a smack in the face and said, Manny, don't forget that. Just a reminder. This is a cleansing for you. That was this whole process. It got rid of everything that I needed to get rid of to tell myself my materialistic things, my equipment, all that stuff, they don't define who I am. I define it. Those are just tools that I use to get my word out into the world. I can rebuild that. So people need to start focusing on their internal message. Peace is an inside job, people. You can't rely on things and people to keep you happy. So if that was anything that I could use for the rest of my life, that helped me and gave me that clarity to remind myself that peace comes from in here. That's why I meditate. You should be able to be happy with nothing, with a box. You ever have a conversation with a homeless person who's unfortunate? They don't feel those pains. They're happy to be alive one day. And, as much as their struggles are, it kind of brings life back into in check, right? Keeps you in check. I suggest you have a conversation with a homeless guy. Help him up, buy a cup of coffee. The perspectives that people offer you sometimes are mind-boggling. Things that we worry about. I'm like, are you serious right now? But yet it happens. So I'm grateful that it did happen to me because it gave me the self-awareness that there's a bigger world out there than me and my little, pieces of equipment and peripherals that I use. When you're alive and you have life and you give gratitude that you're breathing, because my dad on his deathbed, I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye. He couldn't breathe last week. I wake up every day, I take the deepest breath and say thank you. So we need to shift our perspective on what's truly important in life. That's step number one. And in a situation like yours, you're a better man than most people would have done. I probably wouldn't have even taken it that far. I would have been like, you know what? I got time. I'll back up. I'm a much bigger person than this. That's nonsense for me. But the way that you handle it isn't necessarily wrong. You had your perspective, right? Because the universe does back you up, and the universe loves a stubborn artist, and I'm as obstinate as they come. So, yeah,
It's
man.
not typical for me, by the way. And that's not a typical
I
response of
know.
mine.
I was just about to say that. I was like,
Yeah.
that doesn't seem like it's your demeanor. But hey, all right. I want to see where this goes.
Yes, it's interesting. So yeah, no, what an
Did
interesting.
you tiptoe your way around the situation? I mean, see what I did there.
No, I didn't. Jose, over to you, my man.
Oh, people, I'm loving this chat, and that's true, Elliot. I wouldn't have thought of you in that way, but then sometimes it's good. I find that for myself, if I put myself in your shoes, it's a bit of a stretch as well. It's a bit of a healthy confrontation. How can I deal with this instead of just, in my mind, I'm thinking backing up. I usually have this conversation with people, with my wife. She doesn't like confrontation. And then she thinks because I'm Latin American, I'm always after a fight. And I say to her, no, I don't want to fight, even though I do get upset fairly quickly. Now compared to before, I mean, I'm an angel, right? But I said to her, look, I want to express, I don't want to go living that I haven't shared, I haven't expressed myself. So at that point, I'm going to find the best way to share what's going here, what's going through here, because then that will have an impact, not just in myself, but on the other person as well. And we haven't discussed this, but that person in the car, who knows if he decided to take a learning, there might be something for him to take away.
I don't know.
But in the end, we don't control the reactions in other people and things like that. But I'm loving the conversation, and my point was going to be around this as well. All of that resilience. How do we bounce back? Because life is full of uncertainty. You never know what you're going to do. And your story, Manny, Elliot's story as well.
I think money's kind of trumps.
Yeah, absolutely. No, of course, but it's not about, as we like to say, the competition here. You're worth sharing from, your latest experience, how you've overcome that. And it is so powerful, the level of flexibility here, Manny. And I want to ask, I mean, what is it that you think about when you find, whenever something comes your way, whatever that is in life, what do you do with it? How do you deal with these circumstances? You kind of explained already. I'm interested in the way you think about those things as they're happening.
Yeah. Well, first of all, action breeds inspiration and not the other way around. I took action on it. I took action on what made sense to me. And with every step that I took, right, it built more motivation. Now I'm smart enough. I educate myself. I've read a zillion books on understanding the brain, but not everyone else's brain, understanding my brain first to secure myself, right? So situations where you incorporate other worldly experiences from other people. And I just tally up information and knowledge. Why did they react to this? And why did they respond to that? So I think it's a matter of recognizing that we're all different. We're all different. We all have different perspectives. We all have different solutions, way of thinking of things. And that's a beautiful thing. We need to embrace that a little bit more. Now, there's this one quote that Tupac said, I don't wish any ill will on anybody, right? I want everyone to have a full plate of food, right? They just don't have to sit at my table. So I like to remove the toxicity from my life. Let you be you. Elliot, you can do whatever you want. You can go scream whoever you want. Jose, you want to just do backflips and just keep criticizing me for being who I am. That's great too, right? I still show love and compassion. Now, there's a certain, border that you don't cross, when it becomes life threatening. I get that, but that's usually an extreme situation. That very rarely happens. But we need to live and let live, man, in situations like that. But it takes work. It's like everything. You got to do the work. So it helps me get to that next level. First of all, I take action on it. And with every step, that breeds more inspiration to continue to understand. And you'll realize, again, if you follow your truth, if you come correct, like you said, Elliot, the universe will conspire for you and it'll start putting these pieces in place for you that you never thought. So belief, consistency, always is that combination that has helped me. I believe everything is going to work out. I segment and intend my entire day. When that was happening, I just got to work. I said, you know what? I intend to have an amazing day. When I'm brushing my teeth, I intend to have an amazing bathroom experience. I intend to, before I read a book, before I did this interview, I said, I intend to have an amazing interview with Jose and Elliot. I intend to have the words come out flawlessly, engage in good, heartfelt dialogue. You see, we need to do that a little bit more. We need to be aware of our segments of the day to more or less predict the outcomes that you desire. If we stay in that space, positive things happen. That's how I handled that whole situation. For 5 months, every day, I said, don't worry about that. Everything will always work out. And guess what? It worked out because I expect it. But you have to have the belief. And again, it's hard work. But if you believe, again, you achieve. And you have to attach your emotional value to it. It's not just visualizing something, the whole element of manifestation. It's a garbled scenario there. You can't just be like, oh, yeah, I want that Rolls Royce Phantom, boop, and it's going to appear. Absolutely not. If you think that, that's impossible. But if you visualize it, if you speak about it as if you already own it, if it's already in your possession, right? And you attach that heartfelt emotion that it's going to happen. And this goes with any aspect of your life. You'll be all right. Things will start to manifest for you. Just need to chill out and let they want that sprint, and life is not a sprint, man. It's a marathon. You have to maximize every day, of course, but take your time with it. Indulge in the intricacies and the beauties of life. Take time to smell the damn roses, man. I do. When I'm inundated in work and I have a headache building, I go outside in fresh air and just take 5 minutes to yourself. You owe it to yourself. We owe that to ourselves. And when people check this out, nobody cares about your opinions, Jose. Nobody cares about your opinions, Elliot. You know what they like? As long as their opinions are coming out of your mouth, that's what they care about. Think about that for a second. That's what they care about. So if you allow that, then shame on you. When people's opinions and emotions pay my bills, maybe I'll shift my focus on that. But until then, it's not going to disempower me, because my dad always said, listen, if it costs you your peace, it's way too expensive and you can't afford it. Move on. And that's what I've upheld all these years. And it's applicable to every area of your life.
That's brilliant.
We so need the mic drop. Yeah, buddy. I mean, I could listen to you, Manny, for days. That's fantastic.
So you could listen to his podcast and then you could listen for days. What is your podcast called, Manny?
Yeah.
Before we wrap this up.
Mojo for Musicians.
There you go, Jose. Listen to Mojo for Musicians, and you can listen to him all the time.
Yeah, please take a listen to it. Like I said, I put my heart and soul into it. There's a new segment now because I want to showcase artists. It's called the Limelight Lounge, where it's not a 45-minute, 30-minute episode. It's more 15 minutes where I get to showcase the artists, play their music, talk about their hardships, how they overcame. Because it's all about offering value, isn't it? Right? If you want something successful, offer value. Like your guest, I'm humbled that you had me on the show. I have a lot to offer, but I'd like to think I bring value to a show, but that comes with a lot of work. You guys implement your work to put together your own successful podcast, which it is. That's why I'm here. So it all works hand in hand, man. We got to uplift one another.
Absolutely. So
just before we wrap this up, what we call in this episode?
What? What we calling this?
The thing is, I mean, you interrupted as I was about to drop the line that you interrupted, so you broke the flow. Thank you very much, Elliot.
Let's rewind. Ready?
That thing going on. Yeah, rewind, please.
Oh man, this is great.
And I even forgot the question. It wasn't a question. I
There
just
wasn't
wanted
a
to drop.
question.
And the thing is that we go, no, it wasn't. Oh, you're going to interrupt me again. There we go. So rewind again. the fact that we call this episode Speaking from the Heart. I mean, buddy, you are the living example of speaking from the heart. I mean, Manny, what a powerful human being, brother. I don't
Thanks,
want to
man.
ask any more questions. I just want to go. Whereabouts are you right now? Are you still in Puerto Rico? Are you in the States?
No,
Because I just want to
I'm
travel
here.
and give you a hug.
Yeah, no, I would love that, bro. You guys come over here and have un poquito de gandules con arroz, empanadas. I'm here in
Let's do
So-
Elizabeth,
it.
New Jersey.
Empanadas.
Yeah,
Woo.
All right.
yeah,
Empanadas.
absolutely.
So what we're going to ask you
Fantastic.
Yeah,
to
well,
do in
over
a
to you,
My
Elliot.
Latin
second,
background.
Manny, in a second, in your best British accent, I want you to give your big message to all our listeners. What's their takeaway? Do you want to leave them? If they heard nothing else but this section, what is your... I want you to do in your famous British accent.
Oh, yeah. All right. You want MC Anga?
Let's do MC Anger. Let's do it.
And you ready? Yeah. I can get on. All right, people, listen up, people. I've got one advocate thing. I'm really, like, I flare up like a hemorrhoid when I talk about this. If you've got an appointment at 8 o'clock, right, don't get there at 8:05. That means you're late. You're not going to get the job. You know what I mean? Get there 1:45. Get there 1:30. Be mindful of that, people, because if you don't respect them. You don't respect yourselves. It makes perfect sense. Get there on time. Bloody hell.
There we go. And do the work. I love that.
Do the reps,
work.
yeah.
Do
People look
the
at you
work.
like you're daft, but you're not daft. You're responsible, mate. Just do the work.
Do the work. mate.
Amazing. Woo! Okay, so listen, Manny, when people want to reach out to you, where they want to connect with you, they want to follow you, they want to listen to you, give us a plug one more time, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Absolutely. Everything and anything that has to do, go to mannycabo.com. My podcast is there. My music will be there. My photography is there. And join the Giraffe Tower, giraffetowernft.com. We're all giraffes. You're all creatives. I want a giraffe in your meta wallet too as well. Trust me, you'll know about that soon enough because it's coming, people. The metaverse is here. NFTs are here. Web3 is here. Jump on board now. That's it.
Amazing. Amazing. Jose, last words.
People, listen to this episode over and over again. Take action. Manny has shared so many powerful and deep insights. Do the reps. That's the one. Do the reps and keep on changing your perspective. I mean, look for an angle that serves you more and more and more, and keep on doing it daily. And I love that element of trusting the universe, trusting the process. It's so powerful because on a daily basis, we're doing so many things that we don't really know whether they're going to land, where they're going to land, if they're going to work. But believe that what you're doing on a daily basis is definitely going to pay off. Amazing episode.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Manny. And carry
Manny,
on speaking your
thank you
greatness.
for coming. We wish you all the success in the world, and we'll see you very, very soon, my man. Thank you again for sharing your wisdom, your
Absolutely.
Thank you,
insight,
Manny.
your knowledge, and your golden nuggets with our community and our speakers. Have a great day. Till
Absolutely.
next time.
You
Don't